I have a bunch of Vevor tools throughout my shop, and they're awesome. So when they reached out to me, I was super thrilled about it because, like I said, I have a bunch of their tools. They reached out and wanted me to give a review on this air compressor. This is an oilless air compressor. So let's open it up and see what's inside. A little Christmas gift for my son. Pretty cool. Super sharp. Well, so far, just pulling out of the box, I gotta say, it's very nicely packaged. We have the wheels here, and it looks like the muffler's over here. So I'm gonna get everything unwrapped, we'll start putting it together. Well, first impression of the air compressor itself is I love the black. It's kind of a matte finish, looks real good. All right, I'm gonna get these tires put on real fast. Then we'll move on to the rest of it. Got the little front stomp pad here. It's pretty cool. If I can get my fat little fingers in there. So it comes with this little axle bolt that goes onto this tire. It's pretty easy. Well, so far I gotta say, assembly is a breeze. I mean, this thing only weighs 47 pounds, so it's super easy to maneuver around. And it was only 3 little bolts to get everything going. Last thing to install is what looks like the air filters for the intake. And these look really easy. They just thread on right here. So inside these guys is this little air filter. Pretty nice little setup. All right, so after reading the instructions, there's a break-in procedure. So we'll run through it really quick. First, it says to turn regulator fully clockwise to open airflow. Feels like it's all the way on. Turn switch to off position, which it is. So by the way, this has a pull up on switch, push down off switch. I think that's kind of cool for the off part of it. Because if it's running and for some reason you need to turn it off, you can just easily slap it and it's off. That's kind of cool. An old little one that I had like this had a little switch at the bottom. It was actually out of the way, kind of a pain in the butt to get to. This being right on top, I really like that feature. It says to turn the switch to the off position, plug it in, turn switch to auto position, and run unit for 30 minutes to break it in fully. We're not gonna do the 30 minutes, we're just gonna run it. It says turn the regulator knob counterclockwise, compressor will build to maximum pressure and shut off. I believe maximum pressure on this is 120 PSI. Its flow rate is rated at 2.2 CFM at 90 PSI. It's pretty good. The total tank capacity on this guy is 8 gallons. Should be plenty to run nail guns, air up tires, all sorts of tools. Later, we're gonna test this guy on my plasma table and we'll see how it really works. But for now, let's run through the break-in period. All right, so I'm gonna turn this guy on, but first it says it'll go from 0 to 120 PSI in 4 minutes. Just for the fun of it, let's get a stopwatch and let's put that to the test. All right, I got my stopwatch set up. Let's run it. I should be able to stand right here and run this thing because it's only 80 decibels. It's pretty quiet for an air compressor. I have a big old air compressor behind you there, and that thing is loud. So I'm thrilled to have this guy be nice and quiet. All right, I have it plugged in. This is set clockwise like it says. I'm gonna pull this guy, start this. Let's see how fast it goes. Well, for a second there, I didn't think we were gonna make it under 4 minutes, but we did. 3 minutes, 50 seconds from 0 to 120 PSI. That's pretty good. But the real impressive part that I noticed was from 0 to 60 or 0 to 70 was under a minute. So if you're out working on a building or something and you're using a big nail gun, it's gonna recharge super fast. I like that. It was the last 20, 30, 40 pounds that really took almost 3 minutes. That's pretty cool. 0 to 70 in under a minute, super fast. All right, so part of the break-in is it says to turn this counterclockwise, release the air, let it kick back on, and go again. All right, I hope you can see the needle there. If I turn this counterclockwise, it goes all the way to 0. Look how easy it is to adjust this to basically any PSI I want. So let's say we were using a HVLP gun and we needed about 50 pounds. I could easily adjust this right to 50 pounds. I like having the built-in regulator. That's really a cool feature. So one of the things I'm most excited about this air compressor is I'm gonna put it right there behind my workbench. That way I don't have to use my big air compressor just for working some little nail guns. I have a pin nailer that I use all the time for little projects. This will come in super handy for that. Best part about that and putting it right there, as you heard, it was pretty quiet. All right, I'm gonna grab my air hose and we're gonna hook up that pin nailer, and then we'll do a couple other things too. Put this through the ringer. I have multiple different size fittings. This thing works with multiple different fittings. So I have this one here, which is, I believe, like your standard household one. And then I have this guy, which I believe is more of your commercial deal. I don't know what these are called, I'm sorry, but I know that there's multiple different sizes. I believe there's 3 variations of these. So this is a push lock fitting. That's cool. I can go from this to this, and no matter what, it works. Love it. That's a cool feature. All right, back to what I was doing. Nail gun. So for the nail gun, I'm gonna run it at about 60 pounds. This is that little pin nailer I was talking about. I love this little guy. All right, I believe it is set up with 3/4 inch brads or pins, and I'm just gonna run around my little tool bench here and test it out. I really wasn't worried about it working this thing. I knew it would handle this no problem. Let's move on to the framing nailer. All right, so this I'm really excited about. I will be building a barn in the next couple months. I'll be using this a lot. This will come in handy because it's nowhere near the shop. So I'm excited to see if this one works. I don't see why it wouldn't. Need a little more PSI. These nails aren't going in all the way. But I only have it set at 60 for the little guy. Let's go 90 pounds. There we go. All right, this thing gets better and better. I had this set at 90 pounds for this nail gun. It kicked on when the air compressor itself got to 90 pounds, obviously kicked off at 120. It probably took less than a minute to go from 90 to 120. All right, that's cool. Now let's really run it through the test. I have a plasma table over there. I know this really isn't rated to run a plasma table, but let's try it. Let's have some fun with it. All right, let me get everything set up. We'll move over there. All right, so as you can see, I got the air compressor set up next to the plasma cutter on the plasma table itself. I got a fun little cut I'm gonna make that'll take a few minutes, so it should really put that to the limit. So let's try it out. Well, that was a fun little experiment. I cut out this little cool balanced bird over here. Kind of fun. This air compressor kind of struggled with the plasma table, which I totally expected. That takes a lot of air. You gotta have a big compressor for that. But it did work. For a little cut like this, it did do the job. It ran most of the time while I was cutting, but it did it. It worked. So if you need a little air compressor to run a plasma table, know that this one will work, but it's probably not the best for a plasma table. For anything else, inflating tires, maybe blowing out the workshop, nail guns for sure, power tools, anything like that, this guy is awesome. So real quick, let me run through a few things again. It's only 80 decibels, it weighs 47 pounds, it's 2.2 cubic feet per minute at 90 PSI. The adapter here works with pretty much any fitting that I could find, or at least that I have in my shop. Oilless, so you never have to worry about maintenance. It's extremely quiet. The regulator works like a charm. It's small, it's light, it looks really good. This compressor is awesome. If you're in the market for a little air compressor, pick this one up. It's the best. I will have links for this in the description below. I appreciate you watching. Go check this guy out. Use my link because it really helps me. I appreciate that a lot. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.